فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي.
You've seen the situation in Ukraine. You're seeing how double standards the world is responding. We're talking about the media, especially Western channels. We are all shocked and horrified at the scenes coming out of Ukraine with an oppressor invading another nation. As we all know, Ukraine isn't the first country to be invaded illegally. In fact, it wasn't the first country to be invaded by Russia. As we speak, the Russian jets flying over Syria. Don't get me wrong, of course we care about the Ukrainians. But why do we constantly need to be reminded that they're different and therefore worthy of our sympathy?
It's very emotional for me because I see European people with blue eyes and blonde hair being killed.
This is a relatively civilized, relatively European.
Just because Ukraine is a European country, Christian, white, and civilized country, so war shouldn't happen there? According to these media, war should only happen in third world countries, Muslim countries in the Middle East and Africa. What they emphasize is not how cruel war is, but the religion, skin color, hair color, civilized or not.
These are Christians, they're white.
This is what systemic racism looks like. When it comes to the case of the Ukrainian, they have the right to bear arms and to fight for their country. And the media celebrate them as heroes. Yet, when Arabs or Muslims do the same, they're branded as terrorists. When the Ukrainian people worked together to make Molotov cocktails, the Western media supported it and called their actions heroic. But when Palestinian teenagers throw stones at Israeli invaders, the Western media calls them criminals. Do you remember the 2015 refugee crisis when around 1.3 million people sought asylum in Europe? Most of them were from Syria, Afghanistan, and Nigeria. Do you remember how the West reacted? They shut their borders. They herded the refugees like cattle and they branded them as terrorists. Back then, Western reportage are quite different. Let me show you what the BBC did. They provide charts which European countries are most affected. Remember, this war was in West Asia. The bombs were dropping on West Asia. But this was a BBC's big concern. Which European countries are most affected? So, what explains this level of assistance? Racism. Ukrainians are Europeans. Hence, they get the red carpet, but Africans and Asians get border crackdowns and refugee camp. Western media is part of the problem. They reflect the public mentality, their sense of European supremacy. And the problem is, governments are not doing anything to help. Let me show you what Bulgarian Prime Minister said about the refugees. I'm quoting, "These are not the refugees we are used to, these people are Europeans. These people are intelligent. They are educated people. This is not the refugee wave we have been used to. People we were not sure about their identity, people with unclear pasts, who could have been even terrorists."
These are prosperous, middle-class people. These are not, obviously, refugees trying to get away from areas in the Middle East.
Now the unthinkable has happened to them. And this is not a developing third world nation. This is Europe.
If this does not expose Western hypocrisy, nothing does. They invaded Asian and African countries. They waged war, they committed war crimes, and when the people fled, they shut their borders. We are not trying to deflect attention from Ukraine at all, but I'm left asking, why the double standards? Why the hypocrisy?
أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية